We are appealing, we are squirrels.
Hey Daniel Lewa, did you know that squirrels have 4 front teeth that never stop growing because they're constantly gnawing on wood and food and things like that?
No, I did not.
Well, if you didn't know that, that's the kind of video that you signed up for. Today we're going to be ranking the top 10 LEGO squirrels. They come in all shapes and sizes, and it's really a creature that hasn't been done that much justice, but I've been dying to get into this video. Let's go ahead and start with our number 10 pick. This is from a Creator 3-in-1, which we're going to see a lot throughout this video. As a lot of LEGO squirrels are kind of relegated and pushed into this Creator 3-in-1 theme. I don't know why they don't really get their own set. It's okay. This is set 30666, Gift Animals from 2024. So as you can see in the bottom right here, this is the squirrel that we're referring to. It's cute. I'll give it that. They are going for more of a chubby and tubby look, but this squirrel lacks a lot of detail, and it's okay. It's for a small little poly bag, but the feet are just the one connector piece, and I just feel like they're not doing this squirrel a lot of justice.
It looks more like a rat or a mouse, chibiified. It's definitely also part of the rodent family, but this does not look like a squirrel to me, if I had to guess.
Our number 9th squirrel would be the Duplo Squirrel is what we're calling it. There's 3 different color variations or different printing variations of the Duplo Squirrel. We have one with just black eyes, one with green eyes, and a more western or eastern gray squirrel themed Duplo Squirrel, which is nice that they included that. Here's an example of some of the sets that they come in, like Sophia's Magical Carriage. This squirrel, it's getting the 9th spot because it's very chubby and fat and obese and lazy, and squirrels aren't actually known. Well, I mean, look at Sophia's carriage right here. You see the squirrel being obese on the tree? I don't like it. I don't like it. Squirrels are very active. They're always on their toes. They're always very smart. Did you know that squirrels actually have a very good memory? They can remember where they buried their nuts for a long time, the exact geolocation where they buried them.
It is the chunky squirrel. I especially like the set that the kind of the most regular looking one comes in, the brown one. Wild Animals of Europe, where basically you have just like Duplo Animal Battle Pack. That is amazing. And it comes with 2 squirrels. So if you are a squirrel Duplo person, that's the one to get.
Our number 8th pick would be from Fantasy Forest Creatures, set number 31125.
It is nice that this is the first brick-built acorn that we've seen. Squirrels are known for loving eating their acorns, and I'm sure we've all seen that in the wild, so it's awesome seeing it here. Of course, there's no actual purple squirrel, but at least they get the shape decently.
So it's cool to get more of a fantasy squirrel. For LEGO, the fantasy squirrels seem to always have to be purple the majority of the time. But yes, it does come in 3-in-1 Fantasy Forest Creatures. My main issue with this one is the teeth are really lacking. They're using that little connector piece again for the teeth. It's hard to see really what's going on with its mouth and its hands. It doesn't get that really cute, chibi squirrel vibe that you see in the wild. Number 7th squirrel is this squirrel mold. Here's a couple variations. We're going to go ahead and call this the elves or friends squirrel. The obvious one that we're looking at is this purple variation that comes in the capture of Sophie Jones from Elves. This squirrel is okay. It has really large feet, little tiny tucked in arms. The tail, the nice bushy tail, is noticeable on the mold.
At least the nice thing on the tail of this one is that you can accessorize your squirrel by putting bows or whatever else you want onto the tip of the tail, but not sure how practical that actually is. Okay, next up we have number 6, 40709 Spring Animal Playground from 2024, this year. This is a kind of a quirky squirrel, very playful looking. The fact that it has little scrunched up eyes is pretty cute. Otherwise, it's very abstract version.
Yeah, I like how the cheeks are accentuated on this one as if, it's actually holding nuts in its mouth. The tail is not bushy enough. It's not cute enough, and I get it, they were built this specific way to kind of be egg shaped and their legs to fit on the teeter-totter so they can rock back and forth with each other with its chicken friend. But let's be honest, when is a chicken going to be friends with a squirrel in this kind of situation? It's not practical, it's not realistic. I feel like these 2 animals would not really get along or be in the same situation.
Well, add on to that, when would a squirrel ever be friends with a sponge? Up next we have Sandy Cheeks, the living human squirrel herself. It's a really beautifully done figure, great mold, and definitely captures her face pretty well, but we don't see her tail or anything else like that. It's definitely an exaggerated version of a squirrel.
Yeah, unfortunately we don't get a squirrel bushy tail, but this is a very iconic figure from pop culture. It comes in set 3831 Rocket Ride from 2008, one of our only few SpongeBob sets, but this is probably our first and only squirrel minifigure. Yeah, this is the only one that we've ever had until, well, we're gonna get to another one. Number 5th squirrel is this one. From the Birdhouse in 2023, it's another Creator 3-in-1 series, set 31143. The main build is a birdhouse, but you do have the option to do a side build of a bench with a squirrel and a hedgehog, maybe? No, I can see a squirrel and a hedgehog actually vibing and getting along, and it is really nice and beneficial that they are sharing an apple with each other. This squirrel, the best part is the thick and bushy tail. Yes, you nailed it.
Yeah, this is the cutest brick built one so far. Again, the weird bar connectors for the feet. That seems to be a popular squirrel brick for no apparent reason, but the highlight here definitely is the tail. This is very cute.
Well, let's look a little bit into the future here. Our fourth squirrel pick is Marshall from Animal Crossing. This is our second only squirrel minifigure except from Sandy from SpongeBob. He's so well done. The ears are very cute and chibi, just like squirrels are. And we actually can see we're getting a new squirrel waist piece for the tail, which we have not ever seen before. It does come in set number 77048, Cap'n Island Boat Tour, coming out on March 1st. This might be a day one grab for me. We need Marshall, and we need him immediately. Okay, what is our third squirrel?
Okay, so this squirrel comes in 3 different, very distinct colors. The brown one, which comes in 12 sets, the black one, which comes in 1 set, and the gray one, which comes in 3 sets. The key kind of coolest sets, I think, from each of these. The brown one comes in Apiary Cabin, black in the Picnic in the Park, and the gray one in the Alpine Lodge. And you can find these all over the place. I feel like the designers just kind of slot them in wherever as a little fun creature addition to your build, because they do work really well, and they look fairly realistic as far as Lego-ified squirrel goes, so it's a pretty solid one.
Well, and our thing is this is actually our number one squirrel piece, individual piece, because it's not too zany with the cartoony eyes, it's not purple, it's the perfect miniature silhouette, big tail, leg space perfectly, ears are also great. So that's where it succeeds, where the other ones failed with their cartoony proportions. This is a more realistic one. It is highly appreciated that Lego team did their research and gave us a black squirrel, which do exist. The gray squirrel, probably more so the eastern gray squirrel, but there is also western gray squirrels. And then, yeah, just the basic squirrel that we all know. It could just be the American ground squirrel or fox squirrel. So they really did their research to give us these variety of colors. I can really appreciate that. So thank you, Lego Group, for doing that. Now our number one squirrel of all time. Another Creator 3-in-1, the Forest Animals Red Fox. Sadly, the squirrel's not the main thing you see on the box art. When building this, the set is called the Red Fox, so you can build this beautiful red fox here, but it's a 3-in-1, so that's how it's advertised. You get the owl, the squirrel, and the fox. This is the most anatomically correct Lego squirrel we've ever had, most realistic we've ever had, and they gave it an acorn. Thank you, Lego.
What I really appreciate here is the combination of the shaping and the coloring, where you have the white on the front and then the brown on the back. The fact that you also have kind of the very fluffy fur texturing on the front, and then the bushy tail that you can actually pose. And the head you can pose, and the arms that you can pose. So it's probably the most posable squirrel, as well as the most pleasing to look at and the most realistic. And it's almost life size. So if you want to have a life size squirrel on your desk that's not actually roaming around on your desk, this is probably the one to get.
Well, it's just really impressive being able to achieve the fluffy look with angular plastic hard bricks at this sort of scale. So March 1st couldn't come any sooner. Now, your favorite squirrel may have been omitted from the top 10 list, and Daniel Lewa and I sincerely apologize. However, we do have some honorable mentions. So on the far right here, we have another Creator 3-in-1, park animals, quote unquote, mainly featuring a dog and duck, but this is the squirrel here. To us, it did not look like a squirrel. It got like a beaver tail. It's got Wile E. Coyote ears. There are squirrel species with those longer ears, but this just doesn't look good. The nose is way too wide, so this did not make the top 10.
Yeah, the other one, yet another Creator 3-in-1, forest animals. This is, I think, the worst squirrel, because this does not look like a squirrel. An aardvark, or I don't know, some other strange rodent-like creature, but it doesn't capture the squirrel vibes.
Look at the upgrade from this Wile E. Coyote looking squirrel to this new 2020. Like, that is a glow up if I have ever seen one. We have a stickered piece up here in the top left from the roller coaster Lego set. Looks like a squirrel made a little secret cameo when the roller coaster cameras went to take the picture.
Next to that is just a sticker from Rapunzel's Creativity Tower featuring a squirrel. Below that is a Duplo, huge weird piece actually, that came in a lot of Duplo sets back in the 80s. Below that you have the E Duplo block. This one really threw Methuselah and I for a loop, because this comes in the Duplo set called Play with Letters from 2011, and it has a whole bunch of letters, and they all line up with the English words, except for this one, because squirrel in English starts with S, as we all know. But after some digging, we found out that in Danish, forget my pronunciation, but it's Eern or Eern. Anyway, squirrel starts with an E in Danish, and so this set must have been a Denmark exclusive.
So shout out those squirrels, but we just have one last shout out to Dan Squirrel, the Lego designer. Shout out to Dan Squirrel. He has been in the game with Lego since 2021. Started out with the cat brick heads, and look how far he's come. Shadow, Knuckles, Balrog. You guys may have some of these pieces, some of these sets in your house. This GWP, the Winter Carriage. I think he's really good at these smaller scale sets. Shout out Dan Squirrel, you made it.
Dan Squirrel, if you are watching this, thank you.
If you're watching this, it would be amazing if you could design the next Lego Squirrel, designed by Dan Squirrel.
Well, squirrels, while often overlooked because they're so common around us, they are beautiful creatures. Thank you, Mother Nature, and we need to appreciate these wonderful things and give them the love and respect they deserve also in Lego form. Let us know what you think about all of the squirrels that we found, and if you disagree with how we ordered these beautiful creatures.
Now, how about you squirrel your way over to that subscribe button?
We are appealing, we are squirrels.